In cases where no human participates in the ordination of a leader, how could he be ordained by God? Through divine intervention calling, such as how Paul was called as apostle and minister even without human participation. No man ordained Paul as an apostle or as minister. He became an apostle through calling. Peter did not lay hands on him and proclaimed him apostle, did he? Or anyone. The church leaders authorized Paul and Barnabas to participate in the ministry upon perceiving that God made them apostles. There was no human ordination for them to be apostles, though as minister, Jesus ordained him. Acts 26 verses 15 to 16. 15, And I said, Who art thou, Lord? And he said, I am Jesus whom thou persecutest. 16, But rise, and stand upon thy feet, for I have appeared unto thee for this purpose, to make thee a minister and a witness both of these things which thou hast seen, and of those things in the which I will appear unto thee. Unquote. God calls us to different specific duties in the church, as minister, deacon, bishop, or even as the church leader. 1 Corinthians 7 verse 17. 17, But as God hath distributed to every man gifts, as the Lord hath called every one, so let him walk. And so ordain I in all churches. 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 14. 14, Whereunto he called you, as minister, deacon, bishop, etc., by our gospel, to the obtaining of the glory of our Lord Jesus Christ. Romans 12 verses 6 to 8. 6, Having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us, whether prophecy, let us prophesy. 7, Or ministry, let us wait on our ministry. Unquote. Summary. God ordains all church leaders in Romans 13 verse 1. God calls anyone to specific duties in the church, such as minister. There is no guarantee of unbroken link of human ordination for church leaders. So how was our church leaders in MCGI ordained? It say, through calling. What is calling? It is divine intervention to have interest in something, such as ministerial works or evangelism, such as how Paul was called to his specific task as apostle. Though Paul's calling was in form of personal interaction as he communicated personally with Jesus, calling for the most part is in forms of emotional attraction or attachment to something, such as for an advocacy or endeavor. You will feel interested, logically, as how context explicitly implied. That is the essence of calling, that is, interest or attraction. 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 14. 14, Whereunto he called you by our gospel, to the obtaining of the glory of our Lord Jesus Christ. God calls us by the gospel. Would you just accept the gospel if it is without the feeling of interest or persuasion or attraction to the gospel? Logically, you won't be called to divine service by the gospel if only the gospel, as simply letters and ink, would do it. Letters and ink cannot call you, therefore, for you to be called, God must necessarily touch your heart for you to feel attraction to divine service, because without it, how could you respond to mere letters and ink? That, as logically, is how calling works. God must first touch your heart for you to be interested, for example, in matters of evangelism. 2 Thessalonians 3 verse 4. 4. And we have confidence in the Lord touching you, that you both do and will do the things which we command you. Philippians 2 verse 13. 13. For it is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. Unquote. If God can do that in the church to influence our will and actions, could he not influence our hearts as initially, to be attracted to the church and teachings as a form of calling? As I presented the logical conclusion above, indeed, calling is an influence of God through emotional attraction, interest, and persuasion. Therefore, when our first pastor was called to evangelism, through interest in evangelism, it was God's ordination of him as church leader, therefore, as predecessor of the next generation of church leaders. Logically, God ordains leaders through calling, as I reiterate. 1 Corinthians 7 verse 17. 17. But as God hath distributed to every man gifts as ministry, as the Lord hath called every one, so let him walk. Unquote. Called to be a minister doesn't necessitate as always an option to involve human ordination of him as minister, as nowhere in the Bible guarantees such human ordination as a permanent regulation. Therefore, there is mounting proof to support how that our first pastor was ordained by God through divine intervention called calling, whereas his positive response to walk by this gift of ministry culminated in the restoration of the dead church, which in the past was the most glorious than all other human endeavor. Thank you.
Sa lamang nasumpungan kapahinga